This week on the podcast, let's hear all about Wo Long Fallen Dynasty. Let's speculate on why Magic the Gathering cards are ending up in landfills, and stick around until the end of the show for Deals of the Week. All of that and more in this week's episode of the podcast. Roll the intro.
Boop.
Hello and welcome to Next to Nothing, a podcast for gamers on a budget, pre-recorded this week. I'm your host, Danny K. I'm also joined by the wonderful, the beautiful, the Mr. Green. Green, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm doing, I'm living, and it's life. it's great, what is there to complain about, like crippling debt, constant weight of pressure of the future and what that holds. It's great. It's Danny, how are you?
I'm doing okay. I'm about to get snowed in because I decided to temporarily move to Minnesota for 3 months in the middle of winter. And even though it's March right now, it's going to still snow until the end of time. We're also joined by the spooky and the ukuli, Mendacii. Mendacii, how are you today?
Sadly, neither spooky nor ukuli. I am under the weather. I've been battling a cold for 4 days. But, we're just out here coughing and sounding like we're in a detective pulp noir movie. Just, you say he was wearing a brown coat. Yeah, that's been my life for the past 4 days. But I've just been trying not to choke on cough lozenges and living as best as I can.
It's probably a good thing that we are pre-recording this week's episode. By the way, we're pre-recording because I have to go do an obligation, and it just seemed easier to do it this way. But thanks for watching and listening to the show. No matter what time we do it and however we seem to get it to you guys, we appreciate you guys for, paying attention to us. Be sure to stick around until the end of the show, to the end of the video, like I said, to hear about some awesome deals that we found for you this week. Of course, if you miss any part of the show, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and everywhere podcasts are found. You can usually find us live every Tuesday on Twitch at 7 p.m. Central Time, usually. But, Mendacii, you are, just on the cutting edge with Wo Long Fallen Dynasty. Just released, Tuesday? Friday. Yeah. Tell us about it.
Yeah. So, first and foremost, that was kind of an accident. I didn't really know what to do on Friday. I just checked out Game Pass. It was there. It's free on Game Pass right now. And I was like, oh yeah, sure. Screw it. Let's go ahead and download it. Check it out. So now I'm about halfway through Wo Long. So this review reflects that. It's like a half-baked thing, kind of like how I feel right now. And I just want to put it out there that I didn't originally plan to play this game because I'm having a little bit of a Souls-like gameplay fatigue. And I'm also not a huge fan of the term Souls-like because these kinds of games are actually of the roguelite genre. Roguelite, not because you don't lose progress when you die. You just have to respawn, go through mobs again. So in that aspect, this game, like the other games of that genre, are fairly forgiving. You just lose a percentage of your EXP. So make sure, if you're playing, to level up often. Now onto the front end tiddly bits. Wo Long was made by Team Ninja, published by Koei Tecmo. So Koei Tecmo, the people behind Samurai Warriors and Dynasty Warriors, and all the 30 variants of those games. Team Ninja was the team that actually brought us Ninja Gaiden, Neo 1 and 2, and then of course, who could forget Dead or Alive and Dead or Alive volleyball. I love it. Anyway, that being said, Wo Long does an excellent job actually building off of what Neo 2 accomplished, and in my opinion, made some excellent choices along with a couple weird ones. It even made really great mechanical choice changes that were present in Neo 2 as well as Elden Ring, but I'll get into that in a bit. Wo Long, like many Koei Tecmo games, actually have a lot of issues on their launch. This is definitely one of those titles. And ironically enough, one of the issues is that it has a hard time launching on PCs and consoles. So I'm going to throw a helpful YouTube link in the podcast episode description. Video's not super great quality, but they'll walk you through everything that you need to do in order to get it to hopefully launch for you. It worked for me. I do still have some occasional crashes here and there. Typically, when I'm scrolling through like a merchant window or a cutscene tries to play, that transition between gameplay and cutscene. I'm also experiencing some pretty jarring screen tearing here and there. And I've gone through literally all of the graphic settings, like VSync on, off, performance mode on, off, high quality, blah, blah, blah. Literally everything. I mean, you can try and tell me things in the comments, like that's cool. I probably already checked it out though. Nothing that I have tried has remedied this so far. So otherwise, there haven't been any bugs in the gameplay or like hit detection, kind of like the important thing, like do you want to kill the thing or get killed? So it's doing that right. And like a few times the AI got a little confused because they'll try and take the shortest path to you to, fuck your shit up. And they would get stuck on the environment. And then you kind of have to like move around a little bit, help them out without, getting baited into getting attacked because that's just frustrating when you're just trying to play the game and the game's just like, no, that's we're punishing you. Not super great. The hitboxes on some of the weapons, by the way, kind of weird. Like some like have really big wide swings, but they actually don't swing that wide. I'm using a really heavy like hammer-like weapon and then a spear, and both weapons have attacks that do like a 180 sweep, like from your full right to your full left, and it won't hit people that are like on your full right or your full left. It's very strange. So you're definitely going to have to play around with it a little bit to kind of figure out like where your danger zone is and keep your enemies there. There is obviously a lock-on system to help you like keep your attacks lined up, but it seems like you have to be pretty precise. Excuse me. Remember, I'm dealing with a cold, so I'm trying my best. Speaking of combat, though, it's pretty good. I mean, like the combos are pretty simple, like XXXY, XXXXY, and then like sometimes you'll knock the enemy into a staggered position, and you'll be able to do a little heavier hitting attack, or you'll be able to do a critical attack, which is kind of cinematic and flashy and super cool. There's also a lot of potential special attacks for each weapon, and like one spear, let's just call it a cavalry spear, that cavalry spear might have different special attacks than another cavalry spear that you find. It's pretty interesting. So you will see a lot of different weapons. You're going to have to kind of play around a lot to kind of figure out what feels best for you, what you think feels cool, looks cool, and is obviously helpful. Um, However, you're going to have to be really careful how you end up using some of these special moves or the various magic attacks that this game has to offer, because missteps and spamming in this game get you killed exceptionally fast. Like you'll get hit once, you'll be staggered, and then they will ground pound you or whatever. You're dead. Just restart. Sucks, but like that's kind of what people are used to in this genre. So the game really asks you to master its mechanics, kind of get thinking outside the box, and of course, fight patiently. Don't get greedy. In short, it's much like Neo and every other title of this genre. So a few things that it does differently, though, that are cool. The spirit gauge, instead of stamina, it goes both ways. Like, so you have a red portion of the bar and a blue portion of the bar. If you're landing a lot of attacks and your enemy's taking damage, the blue bar will go up, which means that you will do more orange bar damage to them, which will then put them into a staggered position. And then you can do a cool flashy attack to do tons of damage to them. However, if you're like flipping around constantly and you're like mistiming your deflections, or you're just spamming special moves, or you're trying to cast magic and someone hits you while you're doing that, you're going to get a huge chunk of orange meter, and then you'll get staggered and just like absolutely dropped. So when that blue bar is up, you're going to do more damage, like I said, to their health and their stamina gauge, and then obviously flashy finish. So you also build morale and fortitude as you progress through each level, which is like a mission basis. It is not a connected map, it's mission to mission style. So morale is built by beating enemies, planting battle flags and standards. These are typically like the standards act like bonfires, and you'll find them on the general path going forward, like on your way to the actual objective. These like battle flags though, basically they just like give you a full heal, and then they move towards your fortitude and your morale. So if you're out and about, you need to be looking for these because they're typically hidden in the levels. It's very imperative that you do this because it actually increases your overall defense and your health, like your max health for the level. Not not for all time, but for the level itself. So definitely look out for them because it'll make some of those fights a lot easier. Um, Morale is also kind of strange though because it also builds as you just kind of defeat enemies consecutively without dying. So you can get your morale fairly high, and then in that case you will do more damage to health and to stamina. I believe it also works for your defense as well, so more so than or less than fortitude, but I think it has some sort of small incremental change to your defense. So definitely look out for those. Try to kill as many enemies as you can without like dying. If you do die, you will lose a good chunk of your morale, but whatever morale that you built up from finding the flags and standard locations, that stays. So that's cool. And you can always just go beat enemies again to raise your morale. But if you're having a really hard time, you might want to skip it and then just go for your main objective. But yeah, so it's kind of an interesting idea to have like little things that you can find throughout each mission that make you go and kind of investigate, be a little adventurous, and take your time with the mission, and then reward you for doing so. Pretty cool, honestly. It feels good, and you feel rewarded when you do find one of these because when you plant a standard, it refills all of your health flasks and heals you completely. Finding a battle flag or whatever, the little ones so you don't get to like level up at, will just give you a full heal for you and your party members. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty nice. And every time that you get to a bonfire, you would be able to completely re-outfit your character like you would in like a downtime location, instead of just like having to wait until after you're done with a mission. So it's pretty cool. Probably my favorite thing about Wolong is how it treats its stats. Leveling and magic is kind of it's all combined. It's all intertwined. These systems are all just one very easy to understand mechanic. So there's 5 elements to invest levels in, which are tied to your character's stats, and then also give you access to different magic attacks, buffs, debuffs, and increase the damage you do with different weapon types. Like big like butt buster hammers are tied with the earth elemental, like the earth phase, as they call it. And then bows are with the water, so on and so forth. As you play through, you'll see that there's like it'll tell you how it scales. Like, oh, this is a B for earth. So if I have a lot of points in earth, it'll scale better. Like I'll do more damage with that weapon. So it's very upfront, where I feel like a lot of these other games are typically like, do you want to do strength, dex, vitality, wisdom, intelligence, arcane, holy? There's so many different stats, and then like you see all these like little numbers, and then there's hidden numbers that are also moving, and it's just so much that you're like, okay, I guess I'm gonna go on Fextra Life, or I'm gonna go find a wiki and I'm gonna look up a build because this is dumb. Something else that I really enjoy is that as you're leveling up and you're choosing which of these elements to put points into, you're also like it's like I said, kind of baked in. You go into a separate window and it just says, hey, because you have X amount of points in, say, fire, you can just like buy this many spells. Here's the points that you use to buy spells with. And you're like, okay, cool. You get more points by putting like just leveling, actually, just leveling. Or if you level up that specific element, you'll get points specifically for that element. Really nice. Like you don't have to invest in a stat that's specifically for magic and then go and find specific like magic items, magic weapons. It's just there. The game encourages you to use magic spells alongside combat, and then in these levels you typically have an NPC follower with you, so it's like, no, this is how we intended you to play it, so like go ahead and enjoy it like this. Try different combinations and stuff. You can also just reallocate your points whenever you want to, like after you get past, I think it was like level 4, like main mission 4. You'll be able to just reallocate your points whenever you want to. Try out a whole bunch of different builds, try out different spells. It's pretty sick, honestly. So it's something that like this simplified spell casting and leveling system and stat system is something that I want to see in other games of this genre. And yeah, it's just really, really interesting to be able to not have to choose like, oh, I want to be a magic user, I want to be a like big sword wielding dude. It's like you could do both now. You can kind of do a mix match. So yeah, like it's pretty good. So other than the rough stabilization issues, the only gripes I really have with the game are the sound quality and the cutscenes. They're not great. Like I would say that I don't want to say that they're not good, but they're not great. Like it feels as cheesy as Dynasty Warriors in the moments of cutscenes. Neo 2 was cheesy at times. Neo 1, I mean, there was a ninja that kept a cat in his kimono and would pull it out and would tell him the time. That's in that game. This game, however, has like these totally nonsensical conversations or people reacting really weird. It just seems like perhaps like localization just didn't quite hit it on the head. I don't know. It's weird. It feels off. The other part that I don't really like is I haven't been a fan of the like stat systems for what's on weapons and armor in the Neo games, such as like increasing a stat by 2.8% or reducing the amount of damage you take from frontal strike attacks by 1.5%. Like that sucks. It feels useless. And it actually is useless. Like it's something that you would fixate on, but in the grand scheme of things, it will never save you. Like there's no reason to stack that. And you're constantly getting new weapons and armor. It just makes going through what might be good pretty dull, and it takes a lot of time. So I would highly recommend that you just kind of look for something. You're like, oh, this raises my stone spell damage. That sounds good. Or this makes it so I do more damage to enemies. That's always a plus. This gives me more HP. Like just focus on like the things that look like they make the most sense, and don't become a crazy person looking at these wild small integers, because it won't serve you. It's not going to do anything for you. So that being said, it does feel pretty cool fighting in the game, and there is invasions, which I anticipated, but it doesn't really seem like it really fits. But it is kind of cool fighting a player with this combat system. You're just flipping all over the place, dodging and deflecting each other and doing cool attacks at each other. It's pretty nice. But do we gotta? In closing, it's a fun game. It feels great. The fights are interesting, flashy, and not too tedious for the most part. Mastering your timing, mechanics, and weapons of choice feel good. When you're in tune with the flow of combat, it shines, dude. Like it's sick. I do stand by that it made some awesome improvements to systems that share the genre. And I do recommend picking it up if you're a fan of the genre. or you like Neo 1 or 2, you're looking for a challenge, or whatever, I can recommend it there. However, only grab it on Game Pass for free, or just wait until it is better optimized and stable. If I had shelled out $60 or even like $70 for this game, I would be like obsetti spaghetti, super bad. There's also a season pass available with the first DLC hitting in June and the last one landing somewhere around December, which seems like forever away. So buyer beware, try it for free if you can. And watch out for that first boss. There's a lot of salty people out there. It's a bit of a difficulty curve.
I was just about to ask, so I have an unnamed friend. We're gonna call
Yes.
him Bob, right?
Okay, Bob.
I was just about to ask, it, they spent 4.5 hours trying to beat the first boss.
Ouch.
Was it a difficulty setting issue in the game, or was it a skill issue?
Both.
Uh,
Both, honestly. I am going to agree a little bit here. Okay, so the first boss is a two-phase boss, both with full health bars. And it's thrown at you after, kind of fighting a whole bunch of nothing, right? Like just some normal ass soldiers. And then this dude comes in, he's like jumping at you all over the screen. He's shooting spikes out of the ground at you. And you're just like, I barely know the mechanics of this game. I guess I'll try. And you don't have any other weapon at that point other than a sword. So like if you don't like how it plays at that point, you don't have a choice. Well, no, there was also I got a pole arm as well. So I was fighting with a pole arm. So you're basically bare bones level. You have 3 healing items. You're going in basically suboptimal, like on purpose. Like that's the way the game kind of sets you up. And you have to beat this dude down his entire health bar, at which point he something, right? Isn't even my final form. And he transforms, and now he has a completely different move set, and attacks that are like very, very like far reaching and stuff. He's got attacks that can do 3/4 of your health bars. So if you didn't have heals, you're kind of screwed, so on and so forth. It's rough. I will tell you that it's rough. It's a hell of a welcome mat. But 4.5 hours, man, like the game just wants you to focus on doing the mechanics. Don't attack a whole lot, like attack when you have an opening. But the secret to that second phase is wait for him to do a really big attack and then just press whatever your deflect button is. Like if you're on an Xbox controller like I am, you just do one of these. You hit B and you flick any direction when he hits you. It's really, really easy. Then you punch him. Then you just do that over and over. And then you win. It's one of those things where like you don't need like a Primus guide for it, but it is going to be a very rough welcome for people that are not used to the genre. There's articles. I saw articles today, people being like, what the hell is wrong with this first boss? Like, it's rough, it's hard, but like it's not that bad. Like I don't know. I probably sound like I'm an elitist scumbag or something like that, but it's just take your time, be patient, don't rush in. That's the whole game. If you can master not rushing in and taking your time, you'll beat it in no time.
So in other words, get good, scrubs.
It's an undying thing, that turn of phrase. And I think it will live on in infamy.
Okay. I think you've answered any question I possibly could have had about this game.
I tried to. It's fine. It's a decent game. It would be really awesome if people could just boot it and play it. But that's hard right now.
Yeah. Executables are hard.
It is.
Anything else on Wolong Fallen Dynasty?
Not for me,
Ah,
no.
man.
No.
Yeah, I'm good.
Do you guys want to speculate on why Magic the Gathering cards are somehow ending up in landfills?
What a coincidence.
Hmm. So this might be the first time we're actually talking about Magic the Gathering like directly. I think I can't think of like how often we actually talk about MTG. It's not often at all, if ever. And really, I wanted to talk about this story because of how bizarre it is and the potential implications that it could have for the value of what is probably the world's most popular card game. Is that a controversial statement?
I wouldn't say so.
Okay.
I would say solitaire is more popular, but that's just me.
Okay.
Anyways, so we're gonna need a little bit of backstory here, right? So last year, Magic the Gathering announced a 30th anniversary set of cards that were going to cost $1,000, and it would come with the 15 card booster packs and reprints of select cards with original art, such as Siobhan, Dragon, Sarah, Angel, and others. There's also supposed to be like a reserved list with like not tournament legal versions of the Black Lotus and stuff. We didn't cover it when it was a big story, but I mean, a lot of people were very upset about it and saying that it was just too much. And the price tag really shocked a lot of people in that community because at the time, a lot of players and enthusiasts were saying that the value of cards seemed to be falling due to overprinting and a decrease in overall quality of prints. I don't play MTG. Mendacii, I know you have a little bit of history there. Do you want to weigh in on that at all?
Yeah. I can't wait to get shit on by Zombie, who I would say probably was a little bit more avid than I was. But yeah, I at one point had about 35 pounds of cards. And I never really tried to mess with like the online card economy. I know that it is, however, pretty nuts when you have to have like websites devoted to tracking card prices, and then your online version of your card game has a separate economy from your physical card game economy. That's insane. When you also have to go like up to store associates in order to unlock your cards so that you can purchase them. Also crazy. Like Magic is in a very weird spot because of like the rarity card, like the ultra rare, mythic rare cards. The prints on them, like you have no idea. They never really shared as far as that goes. They're just like, yeah, I mean, like, you know, it's supposed to be 1 in 5,000. It starts sounding like scratch ticket odds, essentially.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, like if you want to go and buy something online, single to having up to 4, as long as it's not a legendary creature in your deck, then man, like it can get expensive. You can go and buy like a $650 deck. Just goofy. Just fucking goofy. But yeah, as far as overprinting and stuff like that, people have been talking about that quite a bit. Colors and just like quality wise, kind of fucky as well. Really strange, but Magic the Gathering's been kind of going through a really weird spot, I think the past 2 years.
Right. So, and I kind of want to hit on something that you said there, where it feels like people are playing scratch offs with when they buy Magic the Gathering cards, right? Because there is such a value in these cards, or a perceived value in these cards. So imagine the community's surprise and bewilderment when somebody dumped over an estimated $100,000 worth of cards in a landfill in Texas. Right?
Yeah.
This is just weird, right? So a Reddit user named Latino with a 0 at the end posted a picture, or a series of pictures really, of 6 pallets of Magic the Gathering cards freshly dumped, still in boxes and wrapped in plastic, just right there in the landfill. According to the Gamer, the website The Gamer, among the cards that were found in the heap were from the Secret Lair and the aforementioned 30th anniversary cards.
Jesus.
Yeah. So this has, of course, led to speculation in the community about what happened to these cards. Why were they dumped in landfill to become trash, rotten food for rats, right? Like, why are these here? And there's a little bit of speculation. The first theory that is probably more plausible is that the cards were somehow damaged or defected in some way, and that a vendor refused them. And if a vendor refused them, then they just get tossed in the trash, right? So that was what is probably the most likely theory, but there are people who are putting on their tinfoil hats. And it's an interesting theory here that Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro, who own Magic the Gathering, dumped the cards because they have been overprinting them. And they needed a way to get rid of the cards to try to bring the value of the cards back up. No one bought the 30th anniversary cards or something to that effect, and they needed some way to bring the value of cards back up, and so they just dumped them. You know, that is an interesting theory to certainly say the least. I'm not sure if I entirely believe it, but I think it's plausible.
Right, but also, like, as far as economy goes too, right? Like, you want to battle inflation? Well, then just burn the money that's in circulation, man. Now the dollars are worth more. That's not a real thing, you know? Like, man, like, cards are assigned their rarity before they even, you know, like, reach a printer, obviously. And then, because it's supposed to be how good is this card? How strong is this card? Really? Like, is it a 3 cost and it's a 7/7 and drops 2 red 7/7 dragon tokens on the field? Maybe. You know, like, so, like, that's going to be something that we want to have. Like, 1 in 5,000 cards could be this.
Yeah.
So, like, when oh my god, oh, it's like it's almost like I wish I was an economist, because there's got to be a term for this. It's like a falsification of either like some sort of inflation or deflation of this card market, because the cards have been printed. It's like lottery tickets, okay? I know a lot about lottery tickets because I used to have to sell them. So think about it like this. If your odds are 1 in 4 tickets are a winner, and you're looking at the roll in like the little like thing that you can buy lottery tickets from, and you're like, oh, well, there's 20 tickets in here. You're like, okay, so really 5 of these should be winners. But what the guy at the counter is not going to tell you is, like, I also have 6 more packages of these lottery tickets behind me, which are all part of that same pool of odds. So all 20 of those might be losers. So, like, the cards themselves, like, it's not actually changing the economy in like a direct way. You know what I'm saying? The cards, you can't get to them, but the rarity is still the same. So they've just taken those cards out of circulation. So now it's like harder to get them, but they're not telling anybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's fucky. It's fucky, man.
Yeah. Green, do you have a perspective you want to share on this at all?
No.
No?
No.
So, yeah, there's a lot of rampant and wild speculation. At the moment, this seems like it will just remain a mystery. It's just going to be a mystery about how these estimated minimum $100,000 worth of Magic the Gathering cards ended up in this landfill in fucking Texas. Is it the fault of a shipping company damaging cards, or is it an actual effort by WotC and Hasbro to cover up the their overprinting habits and increase the value of the product again? Who knows? You know, unless someone speaks up. But
Right.
I actually, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say right, and it's just like when it comes to the value of, say, like, we're just gonna talk about one mythic rare card, right? As an example,
Mm.
the card's already been printed. It's a mythic rare. If it's 1 in 5,000, and then all of these cards go missing, that doesn't actually impact Hasbro's like, ah, yes, this card is worth so much money. Give us this money. That's third party. That's resale value. That's, I got this card mint and threw it in a card case. I'm selling it on the toad, and you're going to buy it from me for $50. What if that money goes to Hasbro? Like, you know what I'm saying? It literally doesn't do anything for their product at all. It's just, yeah, we had $100,000 worth of retail goods go in the trash. The players are the ones that place other monetary value based on accessibility to the commodity. You know what I mean? Like that's it. It's third party market. So yeah, again, this is all just, it angers me. and I'm also smooth brain, so I probably don't understand half of what is actually possibly going on.
Yeah. But because we don't talk about Magic the Gathering all that much, I wanted to actually take this as just like an opportunity, open up the conversation of the value of Magic cards, and if at its current rate, what will the cards hold value over time? And will we see MTG return to a model and path that made it the juggernaut that it is? And I really want to know from our community if they think that's going to happen. So let us know in the comments what you think, and we would love to hear from you. We'll be sure to be watching the comments and talking to you guys all about that. Anything else on this mystery? Do we need to get scooped?
Or
Go ahead.
It kind of reminds me of, I think it was Abercrombie and Fitch. I think it reminds me of how, I'm pretty sure it's Abercrombie and Fitch, maybe Hollister, where the CEO was like, we don't give clothes like to like homeless shelters and stuff. Like we don't donate our clothes if we don't sell them. They like either burn them or like paint them and throw them in a landfill, like dye them and throw them in a landfill and shit like that, because they don't want poor people to wear their clothes.
That sounds like Abercrombie.
I don't know. I don't know why, but it gives me that vibe for some reason.
Just kind of like well, you denied them, so we might as well just throw them in the trash. Fuck doing third party, nothing like that. Like there's obviously like those overstock markets. Surely you could have at least gotten half of your, at least your wholesale back, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's why
it was Abercrombie.
Yeah, it was Abercrombie. And that actually, like, if we're talking about like if this was like a vendor, that's why I'm kind of thinking is somehow these cards, because we only know the condition of what they look like after they've been in a landfill for a couple of hours, right? Like they've been sitting there, released into the open air of a dump, soaking in garbage juice and being blown around in the wind, right? Like, but like, what did these things look like when they got to the dump? Were these things water damaged? Did they have like did a mouse chew its way into the box or something? Like that is
maybe the cargo is filled with cockroaches. Like we don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely let us know what you guys think. If you have any wild theories, I want to hear like your like. Look, we already put like our tinfoil hat. Go on ahead and like just wrap it around your head and give us your wacky theories in the comments section. I would love to hear it. But do you guys want to go on ahead and talk about deals of the week?
Heck yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to start out here. Over on Fanatical, you can save on Team 17 games, like 13% off Marauders, which I've been enjoying Marauders lately. It's something I got it gifted to me, and it's been very fun, very enjoyable. I know we've talked about it in the past on the show, but
Yeah, with Nab McTackle.
yeah, it's been pretty fun. You can also say, like, on that same sale, 82% off of Overcooked, which is one of my fiance's favorite games, and she was yelling at me the other night as we were playing, because I'm bad at it. And then there's also 78% off of Blasphemous, which I know our good friend Revsfend really enjoyed. So yeah, that's over on Fanatical. Team 17 sale. Mendacii, what do you got?
That's a damn good sale, Danny. It's gonna be hard to follow it up. So anyway, there's Other Side, if you've heard of that, Other Side, and Scourgebringer on Humble Choice for $11.99 a month. So these games are leaving soon. These are the February games, but you can still grab them. They're pretty great. Other Side is a tactical indie RPG with some pretty interesting art direction. And Scourgebringer is a neat little roguelite Metroidvania in a very pleasing retro style. I recommend both of them, and I actually nabbed them earlier today because I almost forgot to.
Heck yeah. Green, what do you got?
I have V Rising. It's a pretty fun game that I've seen a lot of people really very much enjoy. It's got a very positive rating on Steam, and Steam has it on sale right now for 20% off. That ends on March 9th for $15.99. Originally $19.99. So save yourself $4.
That's
And pick that game up. Yeah,
Hell
a lot
yeah.
of people like it. It's and the biggest thing about V Rising is it's still an early access game, so it's not like completely finished yet. So like it's already got very positive reviews now. What can it be in the future?
Heck
Good
yeah.
point.
It'd be perfect. Who knows?
Yeah. Who knows?
But yeah, that is until March 9th. And then we also have the Steam Spring. Is it the spring sale that's coming up on like the 13th
Yeah.
or something like that? We talked about this last week.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for that too.
Whoop. Green. Unless there's anything else that we want to talk about, do you want to tell us what's coming up with your channel?
Well, and this weekend is Hyena's alpha playtest that I can't actually stream. That's been pretty fun. I've been enjoying that. Been trying to get everyone on that wagon of trying out Hyenas because it is a very, very fun. And I signed an NDA
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
to play it in the closed alpha. So I can't like stream it or anything. I don't know how much I can talk about it. But
Yeah.
it
Is it
is
fun?
it is very fun. It is
Good.
very polished for being a closed alpha.
Yeah.
Like so far it's been great. Like and they're just adding more stuff like from that last alpha weekend that we had. They've added some new features into it just to test out like if there's a tie between two teams and stuff like that. So yeah, it's definitely improving. Even like the first alpha, like the first weekend of the alpha, back in January, I think it was. There was only like a few very minor bugs that were like, oh, it's an alpha kind of thing. Other than that, it was a very, very clean experience. So I can't wait to talk about Hyenas in full once I get the go ahead to be able to do that because it's gonna be great. But yeah, for streaming, I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm kind of just trucking through life at the moment. So if I am streaming, it'll be on Twitch, twitch.tv/Mr. Elite. And it'll probably be my basic mainstay of Hunt or Overwatch or something. Who knows? Or
Heck
maybe even doing like a Sons of the Forest thing. Who knows?
Ooh.
I got that game.
I
bought it. I haven't played it yet.
I would love to see you play it. Just because
Yeah.
I know you're a horror bitch. So
I am a horror bitch. Yeah. You know what would be interesting, since we're pre-recording this, is if like I went live on the Next to Nothing YouTube and Twitter or Twitch, and
Mm.
like was playing a playthrough of Sons of the Forest on
Mm.
Tuesday. Ooh, maybe we'll see. If you're
Ooh.
watching this Tuesday and you're seeing
Ooh.
that live, I don't know. If not, sorry.
Mendacii, what's coming up with you?
Well, Green talking about hyenas and alphas and stuff like that got me thinking about steel hunters. And my application was accepted for that playtest.
Mm.
The playtest ends tomorrow at 4:00. And I'm looking at my email now, and it's like, hey man, here's further instructions within 48 hours, but they sent that to me on the 2nd. So yeah, I have yet to receive my instructions to play the playtest, since it's going to end here tomorrow.
Mhm.
So sorry, can't tell you about Steel Hunters. I was going to stream this weekend some Wolong, but yeah, I've been pretty cruddy. I think that a pre-recorded episode is about all I'm going to be able to muster until at least midway through next week, or possibly later. But yeah, I'll be finishing Wolong, keeping my eyes out, being ready for Resident Evil 4. March is a wild ass month for gaming, so definitely keep an eye out and try to keep a few extra bucks in your wallet, because that spring sale's right around the corner, man. And
Yeah.
yeah, just a lot. Just try to take a breath. Breathe.
Coming up for me, me and Indy Falco kind of missed our recording opportunity because we got too deep into the weeds on something that we were working on for Viarcana. So I'm actually recording that tomorrow. There should be a new episode of Viarcana up on Saturday. Then the following Saturday, the bonus episode should be up. I'm also working really hard on the next session. I've got like quite a few things written. I have to do some maps and some tables, and then we should be good. So at some point, we'll get another session of Viarcana up and going. But that is pretty much it for me. You can follow me on Twitter at DannyK, DANIECAE. That's where I shitpost and talk about dumb shit. So join me over there. Anything else, guys?
Nar.
Nope.
Sleepy.
That is the whole show for this week. Thanks for watching and listening. Your time and attention is always appreciated. If you've made it this far, be sure to drop us a like and subscribe for more episodes just like this one. Don't forget to let us know your thoughts to any other topics that we discussed in the comment section. We do love hearing from you all, and we look forward to talking to you in the comments. You guys can also find us on the go, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, everywhere podcasts are found. Of course, if you're already listening to us on those platforms, find us on YouTube. And you can typically find us live every Tuesday on Twitch at 7 p.m. Central Time on the Next to Nothing Network Twitch channel. And you can also keep up with us on Twitter. Greenlee, hit him with that Twitter.
It's at Next to Nothing PC. It's there.
It is there. And there's actually quite a bit of stuff that we do over there on Twitter. We put polls out asking for feedback on Viarcana. Like, you guys help me decide the stories that we're doing. You guys decided the name of the party. And I'm actually just like there might be some free D&D content that's going to be coming to the Twitter. So make sure you hit us up over there, because there's some good stuff over there. But until next week, stay safe, stay healthy, keep fighting the good fights, and we'll see you again next week. Goodbye.
Vitamin C.